regarding the uh, okay, now it has started. So let me welcome you all to the interactive session on power electronics. In this session, we would be discussing uh, few numericals, and I would be taking up your queries. I had already delivered lecture on buck converter, its analysis, the waveforms associated with the buck converter. I also took up the boost converter. I did its analysis. I took the uh, case of real boost converter also. Uh, and then I also uh, took up the buck boost type of converter. So you are requested to restrict yourself in asking questions from these three types of converters in the present session. Although I would be starting with a numerical based on a boost converter, and then I would be taking up one numerical based on buck converter, and then I would be taking up some of your queries. Okay, so let me start. So I would be opening my presentation mode. Okay, and just let me know whether whether my screen is visible or not. Uh, some of you just unmute your mic
Yes,
and
sir. Yes,
let
sir.
me know
Visible.
whether my screen is visible or not.
Visible, sir.
It is visible. Okay. So I have written down one question here, and that is related to the boost converter. Uh, I'm reading it out. A boost converter has an input voltage of 5 volts. So this is the input voltage which is given, and the average output voltage is 15 volts. Remember the expression that we derived, which correlated the input and output voltages. It was actually the average output voltage and the input voltage. That expression, which was a function of D, the duty ratio, was actually a relation between the input voltage and the average output voltage. So that is 15 volt, it is given. Then the average load current is also mentioned here. It is 0.5 amperes. Okay. And the frequency of operation is 25 kilohertz. So let me just draw a boost converter here. So we have got an inductor and the switch is present here. And then it is connected to a diode. And finally, there is a capacitor to filter out the voltage ripple. And there is a purely resistive load connected at the output. So this is capital V naught, which is given 15 volts. This is your diode, this is your inductor, and inductor is mentioned here. It is 150 microhenry. So L is 150 microhenry. This is switch. The switch is a fully controlled switch. It could either be a MOSFET, it could be a MOSFET, or it could be a BJT, bijunction transistor, or it could be an IGBT, insulated gate bipolar transistor, any of them. But this is more prevalent nowadays because of the superior feature. As I had told you, the IGBT incorporates the good features of MOSFET and the BJT. Okay, the good feature of MOSFET is that we can operate MOSFET at very high frequency. Okay, while the good feature of BJT is that the conduction loss is very less. The bad feature of MOSFET is that the conduction loss is quite high. As we go on increasing the current level, the losses associated with MOSFET is quite high. So that is why MOSFET is normally not used for high current application. Okay. So IGBT has got both the good features. It has got low conduction loss as well as low switching loss. That means you can operate IGBT at quite high frequency, comparable to that of MOSFET, although it is not exactly equal to MOSFET, the frequency of IGBT, but it is comparable to that of the MOSFET. Okay, and this is the input voltage, which is again given here as 5 volts. So this is a purely DC voltage here. Consider this as a battery, and this is the switch. Okay, uh, so the things that have been mentioned here, uh, the average out load current, it is 0.5 amperes. Okay, let me just include few students are actually trying to join. So let me admit them. Uh, uh, okay, so it would be a bit difficult for me to admit the students while I am presenting. So uh, just let me know if somebody is trying to enter, because I won't be seeing this screen where uh, people would be asking me to join. So if somebody try to join in between the presentation, just somebody from you just unmute your mic and tell me that someone is trying to join. Okay, so I will include him. Okay, so let's go back. So this is the boost converter, and we are given the input voltage as 5 volts and output voltage as 15 volts. So average output voltage, this is given as 15 volts. Okay, let me just, okay, and the frequency, this frequency 25 kilohertz. What is this frequency? It is basically the frequency of this switch turning on and turn off, the T. Rather 1 by T is given. It is 25 kilohertz. And L and C are mentioned. The first part of the question is, so the first part of the question is to find out the duty ratio D. Okay. So let me try to find it. It is pretty straightforward, and we know the relation between the input voltage and the output voltage. So average output voltage V naught is equal to the input voltage V in divided by 1 minus D. So if I use this relation and put the value of V naught as 15 and V in as 5, what I get, this is your 15 is equal to 5 divided by 1 minus D. So that means 1 minus D will be equal to 1 upon 3, or D will be equal to 2 upon 3, which is actually equal to 0.66, and there is no dimension. Okay, so okay, so let's put it here. Okay, so this was the first part of the question, A part, which in which it was asked to find out the duty ratio D. I think someone is again trying to access. Okay, let me admit. And Imran Ahmad is also there. Admit him. Okay, let's go back. So the second part of the question is to find out the ripple current. So ripple current is basically the ripple current through the inductor, that is delta IL. So we have to find out delta IL. So this is the second part of the question, and we can easily find it out with the help of relation that I had already developed. Okay, so delta IL, actually I had already developed that relation. So if you could please refer to your notes. I asked you to prepare your notes while you are preparing, while you are watching my lectures. Okay, and that would be helpful when we would be discussing in this interactive session. So please turn your pages where you had noted down the important points from the lecture. So if you will see that delta IL is equal to is actually given again. Someone is trying to enter, so there is a bit disturbance here. It is a bit annoying also, going back and allowing people to enter. Okay, anyway, so let me just write down the relation that we had already derived, and that is given by delta IL is equal to the input voltage times the output voltage minus the input voltage, and this divided by F into L into the into the output voltage. Okay, so there are actually multiple expressions for there are multiple expressions that I had derived. We could use an expression in which the variables uh, are known to us from the given problem. Okay, so V in is known, VO is known, FL are known, so we can use this relation. So if I put in the values here, what will I get? So I will just write down here 5 times 15 minus 5 divided by 25,000 is the frequency, and then L is 150 into 10 to the power minus 6. 10 to the power minus 6. I have to write it in SI units into the output voltage again is 50. So if you solve this expression, you will get this equal to 0.89 amperes. So this is the value of the ripple current. Okay, so the next part of the question is to find out the peak inductor current. The peak inductor, what is peak inductor current? So if you remember, sorry. So if you remember the current waveform for the inductor, it varies between two values. It starts from I1 and it goes till I2. Okay, so this was actually delta IL. It was delta IL, and this is the initial value I1, and this is the final value I2. So question is asking about this value I2, the peak inductor current. Okay, so we have to find out I2. So I2 again, there is an expression for it. I2 is equal to the average inductor current IL plus IL, let me write it like this. This is the average inductor current plus the delta IL divided by 2. So this was the expression. While I1 was average inductor current minus delta IL by 2. Okay. Who is trying to enter? Okay. No one is here. Okay. So this is quite annoying. People are trying to enter. Okay. I think I should not allow now any further entry. Okay. Okay, let me now what about this the average inductor current? How to find the average inductor current? So average inductor current is nothing but if you will see in the diagram itself, just see the diagram. What is this current? This is the average inductor. This is the inductor current. And what is this? This is nothing but the input current. So I in. So average inductor current, IL average, is nothing but I in. So if you could find I in, we can write here in this expression for IL average. Okay, so let us first try to find out the average inductor current, the input current, and then we will write down here. So how to find it out? So again, the inductor current, the input current is equal to. So if I am assuming that the boost converter is ideal, there is no loss, then uh, VO and IO. Okay, IO. This is the output current, average output current and average output voltage. The product of the two is basically the output power. Output power, and this will be equal to the input voltage times the input current. So this is the input power. Input power. So I can find I in from this expression because I naught is given. I naught is mentioned in the problem. You could see here that I naught is uh, given, and how much it is. The average load current. Average load current is 0.5 amperes. So it is mentioned here. The 0.5 ampere is the average load current. So if I use that, so I get I in is equal to VO by V in times IO. So VO by V in is nothing but it is so VO by V in is 1 by 1 minus D, and IO is 0.5. So if I find this value, this D is already known, 0.66. We have calculated it, and I can just put it here and find out the value of I in. So if you put in the values, you will get I in equal to 1.5 amperes. So this value need to be put here, IL average. So 1.5 plus delta IL we have calculated. This is the delta IL. So 0.89 divided by 2. And if you calculate it, you will find that this will come out to be 1.945 amperes. Okay. So we have done with the third part also. Let's see what is the fourth part. Fourth part is the ripple voltage, and finally the fifth part is critical value of the inductor and the capacitor. So let us try to find them. Okay. So can I? Yes, I can solve it here. Okay. So the fourth part, the D part of the question is the ripple voltage. Ripple voltage is again I had derived the expression for the ripple voltage, and let me just write it down here. So delta VC is equal to IO times D upon FC. Okay. So this was the this is one of the expression for the ripple voltage. There are multiple ways of representing the same equation. Okay, so I'm using it because we know the terms that appear in this expression, and we can easily find out the ripple voltage. So this is equal to 0.5 times, and D is 0.66 and divided by 25,000 into C is mentioned in the problem. It is 220 into 10 to the power minus 6. So if I calculate this, I will come up with this result 60.6161 millivolts. So this is the ripple in the capacitor voltage, a very small ripple, millivolts. Okay, fine. So let's now see the fifth part. Fifth part is related to the critical value of the current, and just okay, critical value of the inductor current, sorry, critical value of inductance L and C. So what is meant by critical value? Critical value is that value of inductance which ensures that the current in the inductor is always in continuous conduction mode. It is never going to zero. Okay. So if that is the case, then we can find out L and C. Okay. So before finding out L and C, because expression for L is given by 1 minus D, 1 minus D, sorry, 1 minus D times again D into R upon 2 times F. Let me just see, somebody else is also trying to enter. Admit. Yes, anybody else? Nobody. So let's go back. So if I put in the values again here, so you see this R is not known to us. R is the load resistance. We can find it out because we know the output voltage and we know the output current, average output current. So the ratio of the two will give you R, and this is your 15, and the average output current is 0.5. So this gives you 30 ohms. So if I put all the values here, I will find out the value of L as 133 microhenry. So this is the value of L, which will ensure that there is continuous conduction, continuous current flowing in the inductor. Please remember that the flow of current, continuous current, it actually depends both on L as well as C. So in this expression, it looks like that actually it depends only on L, but there are other expression wherein you will see that it depends both on L and C. Okay, so we can find out the value of C also, the critical value of the capacitor, which will ensure that we have got continuous conduction of the current, and that is actually given by D upon 2F into R. And if I put all the values, I will get this is equals to 0.44 microfarads. Okay. So we have answered all the problems that were mentioned uh, in this question. Okay. Now I will turn to you now. Okay, and I will be stop sharing the screen, and now you can see me. And now I would be requesting you to just let me know the issues that you are facing in understanding the topics that we have already discussed. Okay, so please let me know any issue, any question. You can unmute your mic and you can ask the question, or you can write the question in the chat box also. So both possibility is there. So please feel free to ask questions, because asking question will help you in understanding, and definitely after getting the answer will help you in understanding and clearing the concepts of the subject. So this subject, power electronics, is quite important, one of the core subjects of electrical engineering, and it requires uh, a clear understanding of the basic concept, although it is quite simple, not very difficult. Uh, some of the basic things that you need to uh, basic knowledge that you need to have in order to understand this subject is circuit theory. So you need to be very much uh, clear in your circuit theory course. So if you haven't done it yet, please try to go through the circuit theory course that you have already studied, especially the circuits that involve L and C. Okay, and when we are discussing DC to DC converter, you need to restrict yourself to the circuit theory part, which involves only DC circuits. Okay. Okay. Yes. Please. Questions, please.
Sir,
Yes. Go ahead.
in buck boost converter, you have derived the waveform of VC, which is
Yes.
equal to minus V naught in mode second, in mode 2. And you
Hmm.
have plotted minus V naught above the axis on the positive axis.
Hmm.
I want to ask why it is plotted above positive axis. Because VC equal to minus V naught. We have to plot it below.
Hmm. You see, if you will see the polarity of the voltages that I have taken. Okay, let me just open this again, and let me try to draw the waveform of uh, okay. So let me draw a buck boost converter here. This is your V in, and then we have got a switch here, and then there is a inductor here, and then a diode, and then a capacitor, and then the load finally. So if you'll see, when I was discussing this buck boost converter, so what was the polarity of the capacitor voltage that I had taken? So it was actually plus here and minus here. While at the output, I had taken this type of polarity. And actually I explained why I took this. Because the flow of current in this loop would always be in this direction. So that means this capacitor would be charged by this type of polarity. So I took this polarity. Although you can take any of the polarity you like, okay, no issue with it. You can start with any of the polarity, but ultimately you will arrive at the same result. This was your V naught, plus here and minus
The
here.
screen is not visible.
Oh, sorry. I have to go into the presentation mode again. Okay, I think now it is visible. So this is your buck boost converter. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just see the polarity here. So this was C and also the voltage across the capacitor VC. Okay. So V naught is basically equal to minus of D upon 1 minus D times V in, isn't it? And this part of the expression is positive because V in is positive and D is positive, less than 1. So this D by 1 minus D will also be positive. So that means V naught needs negative. Okay. V naught is negative. So V naught is negative. That means minus of V naught will be what? It will be positive. So that's why when I plotted VC and when it was equal to minus V naught, I showed it here in the upper half. positive half. Is it clear, Rohit?
Yes, sir. Sir, in this expression of V naught, if we put D equal to 0.5, then how it will follow the
Yes.
buck operation? Because you say from 0 to 0.5 it will follow buck operation, and after that up to 1 it will follow boost operation.
So actually at D equals to 0.5, this is the critical point actually. And the converter is moving from the buck mode to the boost mode. From the buck mode to the boost mode. Okay. So this is the critical point. So if you put 0.5 here, what you will get? You will get V out equals to minus of V in. Isn't it? So input voltage and output voltage are same. Can you see this? And
Yes,
if
sir.
you see the buck converter, so in buck converter, V naught is equal to D times V in. So when D becomes equal to 1, so V naught becomes equal to V in. Isn't it? So you could see that we can call it buck, or we can even call it boost also, because when you take V naught equals to V in by 1 minus D. Okay. So there is a critical movement from buck to boost. Okay. So, okay, you can call it buck operation at 0.5. It's up to you. It's just a critical point. From here, 0.5 onwards, the output voltage will be greater than the input voltage. So that is the conclusion. Yes. Questions? So is there any other question? So if there is no question, so let me just
Sir, in last article you have done, so you have numerous new formulas like of del I, L, and delta VC, because you have derived all the formulas of buck converter, not of boost converter, like critical values of LNC. So we have to derive it from book, or we can directly learn them.
actually, it is not necessary to remember the formula. Okay. You can quickly derive them. You can quickly derive them. But still, if you don't want to waste your time in deriving that in examination, because time is a critical factor there, so you can even remember also, no issue. So I did the derivation for buck, although I didn't obtain the expression for the delta IL and delta VC for boost. So you can do that also. And I feel if you represent, actually I haven't, I have to confirm it, uh, whether the expression for the two is same if you are representing it in terms of uh, the input voltage or not. No, it is not same. So, but you have to, I think you have to remember it. Okay. Is it fine?
Yes, sir. The formula of delta IL is same for both.
Huh. It is same, but delta VC is not same, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I am actually stopping the recording here.